Hey guys, welcome to the episode 6 of That's My Role. To the people who do not know, That's My Role is actually a series where we are covering all possible career options by the professionals to help the job seekers, the career switchers, and the undergraduates. For today's role, we have data scientist, and to present it, we have with us Bhavishya Pandit. Hey Bhavishya, thank you so much for accepting the invite for That's My Role. I'm so happy to have you here on this episode.
Hey, thanks, Mansi. Thanks for having me. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation that we are about to have.
Bhavisha has been into the role of data scientist for a year now, and he has been a data scientist in Routeke in India. So, Bhavisha, we would love to know your experience and how did you decide to be a data scientist?
It all started when I was in my college fourth semester, and we had this
Okay,
one subject of we had this one subject of Python, and I started studying it because when you're a college student, you definitely want to score good marks and have a
right.
good CGPA, good placement, college placement, and all of that college mentality. So I started preparing for it. I was like, yeah, this is a very, very good language, and it is very easy to understand. It is very easy to implement, and because I was going through the theory and all of that as well, because college exams and all of that also more often than not focus on the theoretical aspect as well, right? So
Right, right,
I was going through the theory and all of that, I came to understand and like I realized the vastness, the variety of the applications it is really into. And
right,
one application that was highlighted again and again was of artificial intelligence, data science, and all of that. So uh, I was quite intrigued. I was like, yeah, heck yeah, what exactly is this? I actually wanted to understand what this is, and I took a course. I started studying it. Before that, I watched a few videos as to understand what all things are there. Here and there in newspapers and blogs and in TV, you actually more or less get to see what artificial intelligence is. You would
right.
see a movie and it would okay, this is intelligence and all of that, but it's more than that, right? So if you actually get to see that, uh, it's quite intriguing in itself. So I realized that, and I started moving on to it. Then I completed a few courses. I acquired a few skills. Yep. So that's how I got started to data science, artificial intelligence. It all started from my fourth semester.
Fourth semester, a subject could turn you into, getting to a field which actually is your interest and passion now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sort.
yeah.
Okay, a lot of people want to go into this field, but they're somehow not able to understand from where they should get started. So they know that this field is, exponentially increasing and the growth in this field is marvelous, but they do not even are not getting a kickstart to how to get started. They know Python, and then what next? So if you were to, now do you have an experience? If you were to have to start it again from the scratch, how would that be?
So first of all, I would have gone for data structures and algorithms because it actually is
Okay,
asked often. Yeah, it actually is asked often in the interviews, right? So I wouldn't have had like missed that if I were to start again, right? I mean, since you want to get into as a data scientist, like
hmm,
the level of questions that would be asked to you are not very like up to the level of a software developer or something like that.
okay,
But still, having an understanding of how things work and
hmm,
how to optimize the code and all of that, complexities in general. So that is an important aspect, right? Because
okay,
there are different sections where, especially actually recently came to know about that there are specific SQL queries. If you write it in a way, it actually consumes less time and it is
okay.
more resource friendly, right? So obviously there are right. Same goes for Python as well. So with time, with practice, you actually get to understand that. But from where would you actually build that base? It actually comes from data structures and algorithms.
Okay,
So I
got
would I would first start from data structures and algorithms,
it. Okay.
preferably Python, because again, if I know that
Yeah, it
if
would be easier.
Python is now the market leader,
Yeah, exactly. Data structural algorithms, then Python, then SQL, and then
then I would have gone for maths. For a beginner, if you are from a science stream, and the 12th maths would actually be a very good base. 10th, 12th maths especially 11th, 12th maths would be a very good base for you to get started into it, right? And then
okay,
discrete mathematics, it actually is there. It is very helpful. Discrete mathematics, linear algebra is also very helpful.
Yes, I have a counter question over here. Bhavisha, how much maths do you think is good enough to get started? A lot of people have this question in mind कि मेरी maths अच्छी नहीं है, and so should I get into the field of data and data science because it's related to some statistics, probability, and all of these things. Do we How much mathematics according to you? मतलब basics की चीजें और what exactly?
I would say that just start, बाकी का बाद में देखेंगे.
Cool.
You should not pull yourself just because you think that you are not good at something, right? Just start. Because starting is the main thing, right? Once you've gotten into it, you'd start understanding, you'd start correlating different concepts, and it would then become very easy for you to, understand and then implement also, right? I'm able to interlink a lot of different concepts, even in machine learning, and how things are actually working in general, right? Um, so I'm pretty sure someone who's actually having a work experience of, let's say, 5-10 years, he would be able to interlink on another level itself, because he or she has been exposed to data different kind of projects as well, right?
Right.
Both in frequency and complexity of the project that he has dealt with. So
Correct.
I would say that all of that comes with experience, right? But the main thing is of starting. So, and being decisive enough as to, I want to move ahead with this field only, and being persistent with it.
Correct. Absolutely agreed 100% on that. As you told that, okay, certain type of mathematics is also needed being a data scientist. What all things that one needs to get a hands on before applying for a job? So, for example, a person wants to get into the role of data scientist. What do you think are the basic necessities that a fresher needs to have before entering the field, apart from the things you told?
And you're asking in terms of like Python libraries and all of that?
Yeah, Python libraries and all of that, and also the other skills you think that persons should have in general, like the hard skills and the soft skills both.
To be honest, pandas, numpy, right, are very important when it comes to like loading data and pre-processing, especially when
Right.
you're dealing with tablet data, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then SQL already I've told, right? So pandas, numpy, sklearn, scikit-learn is very important. For visualization, you can choose any one of these, right? Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, Bouquet. There are a lot of
Okay.
data visualization languages as well, right?
Okay.
Let's say your company focuses more on having, y- having dashboards using softwares like Power BI or Tableau or
Mm-hmm.
QlikView for that matter. You can go for it. You can go with anyone apart in that case as
Okay.
well, right?
Yeah.
Um, One thing apart from that, I mean, to be honest, it actually depends a lot largely on the organization as well, and the job you have,
Okay.
the job role that you have applied to, right? There are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of companies who actually focus more on deep learning, natural language processing, or image
Okay.
processing, or computer vision, right? There are a lot of
Right.
companies who actually focus more on data analytics or analysis in general, right? You might want to get into deep learning, but probably the company that you choose, or the company you apply right, might not be that savvy when it comes to all of these things, right?
Okay.
The problem statements or the projects that you might be working on might not have all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So opportunity, it also depends on the kind of opportunities that are given to you. But one
Right.
thing, apart from all these tech things, tech skills and all of that, right? One thing that I would say is very, very important, and I still work on, and I have been working on in developing all of these things, in developing that one skill is, uh, you know, having business understanding as to how this channel of that company is earning revenue, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
yeah, because at the end, any company that you actually are working for, right, they want to make money,
Money. Right.
right? So what I would be doing is that I need to understand how my contribution is making them earn money.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm understanding that, then I would be able to understand why the manager is asking me to do it, why a certain decisions are made the way they are made.
True.
So understanding how a project or how a certain kind of a business channel is working and how it is making them earn money is very important. Read a lot of business related use cases, videos on that, case studies, uh, and headlines, news, and all of that. How things are actually working, or blogs in general. Yeah.
Okay, so Bhavish, one thing that have come to my mind is, you know, as you said that all of these visualization tools, you need to get the data, you need to fetch the data and then analyze and all of these things. How is your role of a data scientist different from that of a data analyst or a decision analyst?
These terminologies are actually used interchangeably as well, right? If I'm supposed to tell you in general terms, right?
Yeah.
A data scientist is supposed to have a better mathematical understanding as
Okay.
compared to a data analyst. If very simple, I'm supposed to tell you, right? This is a considerable differentiator. And data scientists are at times more involved in, modeling and all of that, right? A very
Okay.
basic differentiator, if I'm supposed to tell you. Sometimes what actually happens is a lot of there are a lot of companies who use these terminologies interchangeably, right? So
Okay.
uh, a very close friend of mine is actually an associate data scientist, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but the but the but the job that the person is doing, right, is more of data engineering, right?
Okay.
But the
Mm-hmm.
title and the job role that has been given is of a data. Yeah, so
Okay.
that more often actually happens a lot. So, but again, if I said, uh, you know, data analyst and data scientists, they are involved in analysis kind of thing. They're supposed to make Excel dashboards or, visualization dashboards using visualization tools and all of that. They should be good with SQL and all of that. These are more or less intersecting kind of thing. But one very basic differentiator is that data scientists are involved more in mathematical aspect, right? They are sound with it, and
Right.
again, they are more involved in modeling aspect and all of that as well.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, so the next question that I have for you is that how does a hiring process look like for a data scientist? I am considering that the candidate that is going is for the fresher role of data scientist. So, what do you
Mhm.
think is a kind of a hiring process for them?
For fresher, I would say that data structure and algorithm, as I said earlier, itself is very important. It is often asked
Okay.
in interviews. The interviewer actually want to assess your problem solving abilities,
Hmm.
so that is very important. Apart from that, if I'm supposed to tell you, they would focus. Again, it depends on from company to company, but guesstimates would be actually be given to you, so as to understand how well and how clearly are you able to think. So
Right.
guesstimate, and one example of guesstimate is like actually asked to me in one of my interviews was that in Diwali, how many mithai ke dabbe, boxes of
Hmm.
sweets were actually sold in Ahmedabad, because I'm from Ahmedabad. So there is no
Okay.
right answer to that, right?
Yeah.
But how do you reach to an answer is
Correct.
what that matters a lot,
The
right?
thinking
They actually
process.
want to understand whether exactly. So one thing they can ask you, guesstimates is what they can ask you, right? Apart from that, they can test you on your knowledge on SQL. They can test you on your knowledge on Excel,
Hmm.
machine learning, Python. They do your business case study. So in my internship, when I had given an interview for internship at Rakuten, I was asked this one question, which revolved around what do you think? So this question was asked to me by a very senior member in my team.
Hmm.
So he had asked me that what, according to you, is the data that is required for an e-commerce company, right? What all
Hmm.
things
Right.
should they, uh, e-commerce companies like Amazon, Flipkart, and all of that.
Gone. Yeah.
So then we have e-commerce section as well, right? So just like Amazon.in, we have Ichiba, right? So
Hmm.
Ichiba is
Right.
our so he had asked me that according to you, in your knowledge, what all different things are uh, needed for a company to different types of data that must be captured.
Yeah.
So I told a few other I'd answered differently on that as well. I'd given my opinion on that.
Okay. So, Bhavishya, now that you have been into this role for like, and you have been in this role for like 3 years or so. So, I was just wanted to know, what do you think is the best part of being a data scientist?
Not
The
three
best part.
years.
3 years, as
I've
in,
been
no, no, just not
from
working, but
morning, yeah.
into the field. Yeah, into the field by knowing what it is and,
From,
working for data scientists. So, yeah.
it's like any other field in tech, I believe. if you are in data science, you'll have to learn a lot, right? And you have to be very open to feedback also, not only from your seniors, but also from your peers, right? Who are actually
Hmm.
working with you. And more often than not, there would be biases, right? So as an individual, if you have worked on some other project, so
Mm-hmm.
basically we humans think in analogy format, right? We
Right.
tend to build bridges of analogies between two different topics, right? So you might have worked on one project, and you might be building analogies onto a similar project of a different kind, which you think is very similar, right? So then because of biases, it may or may not be the right approach for you. So in that case, it is very important for you to communicate with others as well. And the
Mm-hmm.
most important earlier itself, you'll have to be a very good learner. You'll have to continuously learn a lot.
True.
Someone who's actually learning and being updated is keeping himself updated. Uh, this is what I've heard. Right? I'm no one to comment on that on the validate on how but this is what I've heard. Someone who's actually a good learner, the more you learn, the more you learn in future.
Correct. And it's not just for the data scientist role. I think this one advice that you gave about learning is, valid for all the roles that we have today. Because since technology is changing, the approach that
Absolutely.
people are using to, build up something to make everything automated is changing day by day and it's improving day by day, right? So if one just stops learning on the things that is there, uh, then everything gets stopped, right? So I think this one advice that you gave is not just for this role limitedly, but yeah, in general as well. So, Bhavishya, what do you think is the toughest part of the data scientist? Like, कि ये भी है, or you found कि ये भी थोड़ा सा tough है, or anything that in general that you want to share with us?
I think a little different. To me, I don't think whether it is tough or not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, Anything that is actually given to me, there definitely are instances where I know stuff already. There are instances where I'll have to pick up. There are instances where I'm supposed to pick up and deliver fast, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that this is the tough. I don't use or I don't uh, use the word tough or difficult or hard whenever I'm thinking these stuff. Uh, I have one principle, and that is I'm being paid for learning. I'm not paid for working. I'm being paid for
Huh.
learning. So
Correct.
if a harder task is given to me, or I don't know how to rephrase without saying hard. So you'd say that the word hard and all of that now you're using, but you get the point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So uh, if I'm given something which is more complex, so it definitely is a learning curve for me, right? And if that is a learning curve, then I'm learning faster. And if I'm learning faster, I would again be able to earn faster.
I
So
was
yeah,
again expecting an answer similar to this. Reason being, it's toughness is all being a mindset, right? अगर हम देख
absolutely.
ही नहीं रहे हैं चीजों को as a being it tough or it's hard, तो वो चीज है ही नहीं, right? It's a mindset that we think कि this task is tough and this task is easy. The work that we have done, if we have done it very frequently, that particular task is easy for us, and it's difficult for
Mhm.
some other person. But yeah, I had to ask this question because I wanted to know your perspective as well on this particular answer. So, so yeah. With that, Bhavish, I have a next question for you. Is that what suggestions would you give to the career switchers, to the freshers who are planning to come to this role of data scientist? And also, I have another question that has been attached to this. Is that what do you think? Where is this role going up in the future in the next 5 years, according to you?
There are speculations and rumors that getting as a data getting a role of a data scientist is very difficult for you if you are a fresher,
Okay.
and to a certain degree that is true, until and unless you're not
Okay.
from a tier one, something like that. Yeah, that definitely is there.
Mhm.
uh, but one thing that I would suggest to anyone who has actually started with data science is that if you have chosen data science, then you better stick to it. It should not be that you're just hopping between domains, right? Because it's like na ghar ka na ghat ka wala scene. right?
Right.
So if you are just sticking to one, and if you are just trying to understand that, if you are applying to jobs and if you're not getting a call back from them, or let's say you are appearing for interviews and if you're not able to clear interviews, what is the goddamn reason? If you focus more on that rather than switching to software
Career.
development or to some other
Hmm.
domain, I think that would be more beneficial if you're focusing more on getting feedbacks, if you're focusing more on I where did I screw up in this interview, or why am I not getting a reply from the interviewer or
Totally
a
makes
hiring.
sense.
Yeah, so this is my suggestion. And anyways, nothing is easy, because had it been, everyone would have been there, right? But you'll have to be very persistent and patient at the same time. If you want me to rephrase it, you'll have to be very shameless and stubborn. So whatever terminology you find
Suitable.
interesting, keep that with yourself. uh, what was the second question? If you can repeat that again, please.
Yeah, so I was saying that to the people, a lot of people, go towards careers seeing कि इस career की growth क्या है next 5 to 10 years में.
I would say that it is very difficult to predict, right? I mean, data scientists are supposed to be very good in predicting, right? But we predict on the basis of data. But
Hmm.
this thing, I would rather stay mum about predicting and all of that, because automation and all of that is also taking place. But still, things that are actually getting automated, it is often said that there are new branches where simply these jobs are actually then transferred. So
Transferred.
yeah, I would say that in last 20 years there have come out quite a new type of job roles out there for people, right? So I believe if you are actually getting into data science, right, as of now, and
Hmm.
from let's say, after this video, I've just started you got into data science, right? You should not worry about what will happen in 5 years or 10 years, right? Why? Because if you are someone who's actually learning on a regular basis at a good pace, right, you need not worry what will happen next, because you'll be prepared already. And even if you are not prepared at that time, if you are having that mentality and mindset of uh, keep learning, right? And if you are actually putting your brain at work, if you are actually gulping in newer concepts at a regular basis, it would not be very difficult for you, even if you have to switch your domain, be it data, be it because of automation, or be it because of any other thing which started booming, right, which has started booming. So you should not worry more about it. However, I would say that data science and all of that would and should be there, and it is actually having a really good future out there. I believe it was Stanford, I'm not sure of it, but they or Wharton, again, I'm not sure, I forgot. So they had said that data scientist is the sexiest job of 21st century, right? They would have
Yeah,
researched.
I have heard that too.
Yeah, they would have researched, and they would have said it after some concrete conclusions, right?
Yeah,
So, but it all boils down at the end, ke, what kind of a data scientist are you? How good are you in learning new stuff and all of that?
yeah.
So yeah.
Even I do think that, see, because a lot of technologies are coming into today's place, we cannot just predict about how this particular job role is going. But yeah, definitely we could see exponential growth in this particular field because when a lot of data is going to be generated, eventually a lot of data scientists are going to be required to make that data. We are going towards the word of automation, but to make it automated, again, data scientists would be required, right? So that is where I also believe that it's a good career switch if anyone wants to make it. I would have asked this question before, but somehow I just skipped it. Bhavishya, how does a day look like being a data scientist?
Yes, I'm very fortunate to have this kind of a culture in Rakuten where we're supposed to definitely we have projects where we have to work, right? But there is a certain bandwidth that is actually given to every employee so that that person would be able to experiment, learn, and implement, and then share his new learnings and all of that with the other colleagues as well, right? So that
Right.
is a very good thing. And in my case, I tried to explore and share, implement whatever new I've learned. So that is exactly what I have been doing on LinkedIn as well for like last 3 years. And so that is why I'm very comfortable to it. I mean, it is completely okay for me to think what do you call alag thoda. right? Would not out of the box exactly, but thoda alag, having different perspectives and all of that. I'm comfortable with that because of it. And apart from that, communicating with your seniors, your peers, your manager, and all of that is very insightful because these people are actually having some dense experience and knowledge set, right? You
Right,
actually
right.
get to good things from them as well.
Mm-hmm. So, Bhavisha, if you had to explain a 10-year-old kid that what is a data science, or to a person who doesn't even know how does work of data science is, so how would you have been explaining them?
Nowadays, kids are more into, phone, Instagram, and all of that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I would give an example of a recommendation system to him. That how a recommendation system works, like in very layman terms. So let's say you
Mm-hmm.
have opened Instagram, right? You follow certain pages.
Right.
You follow certain people, right? So on the basis of your interest and the posts that you actually like on Instagram, you'd be recommended more posts like that, right? So it is either on the posts that are similar to the posts that you actually like, or
Mm-hmm.
uh, posts, memes, reels, and all of that would be recommended uh, more to you on the basis of people who are actually having a similar behavior as that of yours, right? So let's say
Right.
uh, I like more. mm, my preference is more motivational, discipline, and all of that. So let's say I like more content like that, right? So I would be recommended more pages which are on similar grounds, right? So let's say you're also having a similar behavior. So let's say you have followed and you like um, content which is of some XYZ handle, right? And I do not follow that handle. And we both follow each other. So there is a probability that that kind of page would be
I could.
recommended to me because we are having similar behavior and similar preferences.
Coming up to the end of the episode, what tips would you like to give to the new freshers, the career switchers, and the people who want to really come into the field of data scientist? Yeah.
The one thing, in my opinion, that actually makes you stand out, if as a data scientist or as uh, you know, as an applicant in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily a data scientist, an
Mm-hmm.
applicant in general, is the kind of projects that you work on. And I would say the the more unique they are, the better for you. And make sure the projects that you're working on are actually solving a problem, right? uh, when you're actually getting into something new, it would be very difficult for you to understand and uh, you know and bridge it up as to compare whether it is actually solving a problem or not. So it is very important for you to fail often and fail fast, because if you are failing often, why am I using this word fail? Because a lot of people actually take it in a negative sense, but you'll have to understand, you'll have to experience it, that this thing is not working. Why did it not work? What is the next thing that I have to do so that it would work? Or where did I go wrong in my thought process? That is very important, right? Because any company wherever you're going, right, you're definitely assessed on your solving skills. So a good way of showcasing your problem solving skills is not only data structure and algorithms. I understand that they are often asked, right? But there are
Right.
a lot of other ways of showing your problem solving skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way you
Mm-hmm.
come, also the way you communicate, the way you think, the projects that you work on, the research that you do behind those projects as to why did you do that project, what is your approach, and how it is different from existing approach, and all of that. They often show the ability that you have the ability to think, right? And hence shows that you are a good problem solver. So is what my tip is to someone who's actually willing to get into data science or tech in general.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhavish, for telling everyone out about the field of data science and how can one get into this. This episode was really awesome. I get to learn a lot of things through this. One thing that I would like to point out in general, that there were a lot of lessons, obviously, from this particular episode. But one thing that in general was there and clicked into my mind is, don't switch careers just because you're failing at one. This was the best thing that you pointed out, that a lot of people do this similar thing कि नहीं हो रहा है ना डेटा साइंस, नहीं हो रहा है आज का प्रॉब्लम, they think कि बना ही नहीं हम इसके लिए शायद, let's move to the next. They just kind of switch to things. As you said, if you're getting failed at something, stop, reflect back, and get started on that only. Instead of switching careers, don't switch to, but actually rehearse on what you're doing. Because the person who is mastery has done mastery in some particular field is not because उसने सब कुछ या उसको कोई आके सब कुछ बता दिया है. It's because he failed fast in that particular topic, right? And then he learned. So you phenomenally told a lot of lessons, but this is one thing that I wanted to point out, because a lot of people are, everyone wants a good career, right? सबको जानना है कि उनका passion क्या है, वो किस चीज में काम करना चाहते हैं. But people are somewhere or other, they are just stopping themselves, and sometimes they're not able to understand कि हम किस field में जाएं, and they're missing out on this point. Is that they're switching careers because they think कि शायद मेरे से ये नहीं हो पा रहा है, मेरे से ये नहीं हो पा रहा है, मैं किसी और के लिए बनी हूँ. And then that this is the reason why they're switching up a lot of careers. Anything you wanna say on that perspective? Yeah.
A lot of people actually, start pursuing or start running behind a thing because उनकी दोस्त कर रही है या उनके माँ बाप ने
True.
बोल दिया,
Correct.
mom
Correct.
dad, they got influenced by someone whom they saw on social media. You do not have to do that, man. You do not have to do that. The reason, one more reason why I did not, why actually I chose data science was, uh, uh, when I was in my college, I actually started looking to my peers. What exactly are they doing? Uh, they're doing web development. They're doing software
Hmm.
development.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But I had that mentality. I did not want to do anything that everyone else is doing. I did that same thing in my JEE. I did not know why am I preparing for JEE. Mom told me, dad told me, I started preparing for that. So, I mean, there has to have some concrete reasoning, logical reason as to why am I doing something. Did I decide that I want to do this, or someone else decided, or
Hmm.
did I get influenced by someone else? So
Right.
that is very important, right? If you have decided that this thing I have to do this thing, right? Probability is that you'd be able to stick to it for a longer period of time as compared
Correct.
to if you would have been
Correct.
influenced by someone, right? You
Correct.
wouldn't you would more probably you would give up easily if you got influenced by someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you this that I want
Right.
to do this, then there is a probability that you would not give up that easily.
Correct. Knowing why of what you are doing is really important. If that why is, you know, that कि मैं इन्फ्लुएंस होके किसी से कर रही हूँ, या फिर मेरा मन नहीं है, किसी ने मुझे बोला है करने को, the range that you are sticking to that particular thing is very low. And when that why is because मुझे अच्छा लगता है करना, या फिर मुझे इंटरेस्ट इस पर्टिकुलर थिंग को करने में, then the time span of you working on that particular project is greater. This is what I have felt also in the journey. Thank you. With that, thank you so much, Bhavishya, for this episode. This was really awesome to talk to you. Yeah, thank you so much for accepting the invite and coming to this episode.
Thank you very much, Mansi, for having me. It was a great conversation. A few questions I did not expect that you would ask me. They were quite great, right? Keep up the good work, and I really wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.